public service enemy number one must be David Cameron. He has just gone and announced, under the cloak of the bad news from News of the World crisis, that he's going to privatise all the NHS, allow foreign companies to come in and run the NHS. Now, whilst he covers this up in trying to window dress it with he's opening it up to charities and well-meaning organisations, the fundamental point is that it's not just the NHS at threat here. It's the police, border agency, the job centres, which are already partly privatised and run from India under the Labour government. Also, even the Judiciary, that's the judges, are going to be privatised and opened up to foreign companies to run. This is the death knell of our public services, in my view. Although I believe that the public services should be run as nationalised cooperatives, I do not see how a private company can take away the right to have nationalised healthcare. We in Britain should have a choice between private healthcare or national healthcare, the NHS. Now, when I go if I go into hospital for an operation or any treatment at all, I should have the right to choose whether it's private or public. That's the beauty of our system. But it should be free at the point of demand if it's in the National Health Service. It should be a National Health Service. That is what it's called. Not a private health service disguised as a National Health Service. The man is a wrecker. Alright? Although he's done well on Libya and other foreign policy, he's been a terrible Prime Minister overall. He's failed to help out Greece. He's now opening up our entire social democracy to be unravelled by private companies, private individuals, rich businessmen. And I think it's absolutely a crime against this country. We in this country are a social democracy. We have a social market. That means that there is some private and some public goods and services, and that there can be public and private partnerships. But it does not mean that something as sacred as the judiciary, who help make the law through casework in common law, should be opened up to private companies. There should not be private police forces. This is naked feudalism, not a democratic way to run a country. You know, as I said before, in pan-European nationalism and social democracy, private companies should be subordinate to the interests of the nation. This is private companies who are subordinating the national interest to their supposed right to make profit out of us, to make profit out of people's misfortune of being criminal victims of crime, the misfortune to have illnesses that need to be sorted out, or diseases or accidents in a health service. They shouldn't have to think twice about calling the police to think, who are the police working for now? A private company, or are they a national force for the protection of people from crime? These are all big questions that have to be answered, and we find out about it at the bottom of the hour on the radio, buried in the news articles, or said about briefly for 2 minutes on the BBC. Not even a proper investigation to take place. This is the most radical reform, right? And not a reform in the good sense of things that has ever happened to our public services since they began. You know, over 60 years worth of work is being destroyed at this moment. Now, I agree that the public services are expensive, and there is an argument, yes, for that social democracy needs to have some teeth in the military sphere. We need to bolster up our military, you know. But curtailing public services, which are the basis of what we are fighting for, right? In terms of in the European context of social democracy, we're fighting for those things. So that's why I am against a lot of immigration, uncontrolled immigration. I'm against us being militarily weak. What's the point of all that if the government is going to come along and say and lie to people and say there hasn't got enough money to support these services, even though this country makes, England and Great Britain makes £2.7 trillion worth of tax revenue every year? Where is that money going to when the government is only spending 120 billion on supporting the public services? It's crazy. It's crazy. Check this story out in the media and let me know your thoughts. Thanks for listening.